Well, last season was all about FA Cup shenanigans, and we want more shenanigans today. We play Sutton United, which seems like a winnable game until you realise they're in League One and we're still down in the conference. So if we want to get in the FA Cup third round again, we need another big performance against a better team than us. Hello and welcome to part 40 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that FA Cup second round tie against Sutton United, and we're at home against Barnet in the league. In fact, how many home games in a row are we getting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive home games. 5 of them are in the league. Who's doing the fixtures for the National League? That's just silly. Although it does suggest that we might have the opportunity to force our way up the league a little bit. We've been struggling again for league form since you were last with me. Just 1 win in 5. Not very good. And this is where we find ourselves. 9th place, 20 games played. We're only 1 point outside of the playoffs. It's not a disaster. I mean, if we can sneak into the playoffs on the last day of the season, we'll all say, goodness me, that was a good season. And we'll probably say it just like that. But we're so used to pushing for automatic promotion that being down in 9th place does just feel a little bit sad. What's less sad is the fact that Mick Powell is a superstar again. Mick Powell's done another Mick Powell, and that is never a bad thing. But let's forget the league for now. Let's focus on the FA Cup for the first part of this episode. We're playing Sutton United, and this is the team we're putting out there. If you did miss the last episode, in amongst all the YouTube failures over the last few days, obviously go back and watch it first. But just as a reminder of who Sutton United are and where they are, they're actually up in League One. They've had a good few years, but they are in the relegation zone, and the team we knocked out in the last round, Walsall, a couple of places above them. So we've got previous for being able to beat a team of this kind of standard, but obviously it's a big ask to do it in 2 consecutive games. But fingers crossed, we can answer we'll do a big answer for the big ask. That's what we're looking for. So we've got Civitar in goal, a back four of Webber, Proctor, Colley and Tanner. I think we've probably got a proper back four and goalkeeper now, which is what let us down in the first part of the season. I'm pretty confident that is a decent defensive setup. Phillips, O'Brien and Fernandez in midfield, with Tyler, Powell and Stanley as our front three. It looks like a very strong team, but league form suggests otherwise. It's a strong team based on what we're used to seeing in the Conference North and lower divisions. But at this level, it's still a team that struggles a little bit and also doesn't have much in the way of strength and depth. If you look at the bench, we've got the likes of Cameron Archer on the bench. And, I mean, Cameron Archer was a flop 2 divisions down and he's stuck around, but he's still a flop. Right, we need to do the underdogs thing. This is great. I mean, is there an underdogs one? This is a great opportunity to show the pundits have been right to back you up. The media have been praising you lately. Why? We've been rubbish lately. In fact, that one takes the pressure off. I don't want there to be pressure on a performance. It's the FA Cup against a team 2 divisions above us. We've got to carry on the team talks that got us as far in the FA Cup as they did last year, which was always take the pressure off. We're not expected to win because we're home, and home are not expected to win in the FA Cup, although at some point, if we carry on being giant killers, there is going to become an expectation at some point. There might already be one today, but I'm not expecting to win this. If we end up losing, we lost against a team 2 divisions above us. That's what's supposed to happen. And it looks like the home of football is pretty rammed. So we're going to get a decent chunk of cash from this game anyway, which is a different scenario to last year. What a goal from Lewis O'Brien. What a goal. We have got some free kick takers at this club now, but that is stunning. Look at the bend on that. My word. It's taken him a little while to force his way into this team. He initially forced his way in as the defensive midfielder, but was so good going forward that Shane Phillips is back in and O'Brien's gone further forward to partner Eric Fernandez. And the two of them, with Phillips there doing all the grunt work behind them, are a very, very good looking midfield. And they're good at football as well. Kev, why do you do these things? My word. Right, let's build on that. We want another goal before half-time. It's only 23 minutes gone. We can get another 5. Stanley tries to beat 3 men at once, and he's still got the ball. Tanner wasn't expecting it, I don't think. And it's O'Brien again, shooting from range again. But, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt to try and play one of the other players in around him. That was a very ambitious effort from a long way out. But I guess he knows what he did earlier on in the game, and he's not against having a little pop from range. And I'm not gonna begrudge him that. He's already shown he can do it once. Now Sutton with the opportunity from a free kick, and they grab an equaliser. And I mean, there's a suspicion of offside there for me. They've already had a similar goal disallowed for offside. Let's just keep an eye on this line here. I mean, there's a strong suspicion of offside there for me. Are we gonna? Here we go. Let's look at it from this angle. Okay, so the guy who scored isn't offside. This fella is, though. I'm unhappy about that. But I guess it's just going to give us the motivation to go on and score again to right that wrong. Webber now. Back to Proctor. Proctor, ball forward towards Mick Powell. Powell is in behind, and it looked like he kind of scuffed that a little bit. Whether it bowled in front of him, I'm not sure, but it wasn't a Mick Powell thwack of a finish that we've come to expect. I mean, he usually thwacks it, whether he's hitting it high and wide or whether it ends up in the back of the net. It's very rare it kind of bobbles into the keeper's hands like that. Civitar now, just taking the sting out of the game a little bit, slowing things down, ball forward towards Powell, but it ends up with Stanley via Fernandez, and here is Fernandez in space. Fernandez, beautiful pass for Tyler, and it falls to Mick Powell, and it's disallowed. And I feel hard done by again. Was that offside? He's definitely offside there. Oh, he's not. Oh, my word. Is that where you're calling him offside? Because that was less offside than their goal they've just scored. I have some questions to ask the officials of this match today, because I'm unhappy with how things are going in the officiating respect. I'm practicing for my post-match team talk so I don't get a fine. Right, let's... Yeah, unlucky. Things haven't gone our way so far. I think that's fair. We've played well, but we've had some ropey decisions go against us. 1,761 fans inside the home of football today. Little disappointed with that for League One opposition, but then I guess it's Sutton United. They've only brought 300 fans with them. If it had been a bigger League One team, they probably would have brought more fans. But Sutton are like us, but they've had a couple of good years. So I guess I can understand why there's not many people here. What we don't really want is a replay, because there's not going to be any money to be made in that. Shane Phillips, though, he doesn't want a replay either. He's got his first goal of the season. I mean, that, again, a bit of a stink of offside about it, but we're not going to argue at all. But Phillips is so far ahead of that defensive line. Are we going to get another offside replay there? So we are. Is Shane Phillips offside? He's more offside than Mick Powell was for the one that was disallowed. This linesman is the worst linesman in the world, but it's falling our way at the moment. They've had a goal anyway, it's falling our way at the moment. Mick Powell is not having the best of games. We've got Matt Foy on the bench. He's a very different kind of striker, but might be exactly the kind of striker we need for these circumstances. We've also got Tanner, who's not having the best of games, so we can bring on Hickman for him. I think we already had Hickman in the last episode. He's another one of my panic signing right backs who's got plenty of league experience. So I like the fact that we've got a lot of good right backs now. It makes me very comfortable in the full-back situation, which we weren't before. I could probably handle another one or two decent centre-backs coming in, and maybe someone to compete with Shane Phillips as the defensive midfielder, and then I'm going to be happy with this squad, I think. Talking of someone to compete with Shane Phillips, he's picked up a knock. We can play Lewis O'Brien back there. We have done that. He's not as good at it as Phillips is, and it also takes Lewis O'Brien out of the attack. But in the circumstances, I think that's what we do. We'll bring Smith on into midfield, who, again, offers a different type of midfielder. O'Brien is just going to run constantly, whereas Smith is going to sit there and try and be a little bit more cerebral about it, which probably isn't the worst thing to do for the last 15 minutes when you're a goal up against a team that are better than you. Colley over to Proctor. That's a worrying pass in the circumstances, but Civitar plays it out to Webber, forward to Tyler, and we handle it all completely comfortably, and Tyler's now running at the Sutton defence, finds Connor Stanley. Oh, I was so excited about this move that I ended up sneezing and had to pause partway through it. Obviously you didn't see the cut because I'm such a good editor, but Connor Stanley scores anyway. The sneeze was justified. Remember how I used to cough when we score goals? Well, now I sneeze when I can smell a goal coming. Stanley's in behind, and second time of asking, it's 3-1, 92 minutes on the clock, and we are into the third round of the FA Cup. because Sutton United are not coming back from here. Even if they score here, I dare you to score here, Sutton United, because you're still not going to score twice. And Civita collects comfortably, and that should be that. Are we getting a final whistle, ref? Or are you going to get that wrong as well, along with most of the other decisions from today? I don't know what to do in my post-match team talk now, because I think we probably have benefited from more benefit of the doubt dodgy decisions than they have, even though we got a perfectly good goal disallowed and they scored an offside one. But then we scored an offside one and they had one disallowed. So we won the match. Who cares? 65% possession as well against a team from League One shows that on our day we can still turn it on. And I just wish we could play like this in the National League. I wonder if we think it's beneath us. We've had so many good games against big teams now. I think we're struggling to motivate ourselves against the teams in our league. But let's passionately say, well done. I am pleased. And now we just have to hope for a really special FA Cup third round tie. We don't want to have to mess around with these home ties again this year. We'll just have Manchester United away straight off in the third round for another £1 million, please. Here we go then, FA Cup third round day, and we're still one of the smallest teams in the draw because we get mentioned along with the two biggest teams in the draw. This is exciting stuff. We just want a big Premier League team away from home. That's all we're interested in. So we're just going to race through until we see a team that we fancy or us. See, we don't want any of this nonsense. West Ham have got a reasonably big ground. That might be one that makes us a few quid. Nope. No, don't want any of these. No. I mean, I guess the other thing would be a home game against Solihull or Gateshead would have been nice, because then we get through to the fourth round, hopefully. But we'd rather have the money. We don't need the romance of the cup run. We just want the cash. Watford. I mean, it's not going to be the same kind of money that we got for Manchester United, but how big is Watford? 21,000. So I guess we're looking at maybe £300,000 or £400,000 out of that, which is still not to be sniffed at, but it's not quite the romantic work. I can't be disappointed with that. That's still going to pay our wage bill for the year. So there we go. Watford away. I don't want automatic draw. Draw all teams. Who does automatic draw? Goodness me. So that's going to be our next episode. We've still got one match today. You don't go anywhere. But we'll be back in the next episode for Watford. Cool, we've got to play a lot of games to get to that. But we will go all the way through to Watford. And we'll probably do Halifax and Watford, just so that I don't have to play half the season while we wait to get to it. Let's go play Barnet. We've got a few selection problems for the Barnet game. Remember how I said it would be nice to have a couple of extra centre-backs? Well, this is why, because Proctor's suspended, and before I realised he was suspended, I've sent Collie on a 2-week holiday because the physio suggested it and he was shattered. So we only have Hayden Carter as a centre-back. So Webber has come across from left-back to play centre-back. He is a competent centre-back. I mean, he's 6'3", so I guess, maybe. So he's going to play there. Tanner comes across to play left back. He's our right back. And we bring in Hickman to play right back, who was the backup right back in the last game. Also, Shane Phillips is injured, so we've had to bring in Henry to play as the defensive midfielder. We signed him in the summer to be a backup to Phillips. This isn't a disaster, but he's a little bit unproven. He's only started one game for us previously. Also, Lerick Fernandez, tired after the last game, so Wolf comes in for Fernandez. So it's a very shaken up, switched round team. We have got Critchlow Noble sat there on the bench who can come on if need be. My concern with Critchlow Noble is he was a bit out of his depth last year, ability-wise anyway. He obviously did overperform and have a decent season, but I want to avoid playing Critchlow Noble as much as possible, really, because I think the quality of those four players is far higher than Critchlow Noble. It's just whether they can play in the positions I'm asking them to play in today. We need more centre-backs. We desperately need more centre-backs. But let's avenge what happened last time. I'm not feeling very confident. The very settled, comfortable defence that I talked about in the last game is now a makeshift defence with a youngster starting only his second game offering the protection in front of them. And we've not got our star midfielder, Fernandez, pushing forward either. So I'm not as confident in this game as I was against Sutton. Sutton are two leagues above Barnet, but I did feel a lot more confident going into that game. Stanley, though, finds O'Brien. Back to Stanley and two of the heroes from the FA Cup game. And Webber, supposed to be a centre-back, but found himself in a crossing position again. And it's Hayden Carter who, I mean, we're asking a lot of Hayden Carter today, who's another one who, I mean, he wasn't even a regular starter last year. He was the hero of the Northern Premier League promotion season, or one of the heroes, but now having to be the only senior player in a back four in the National League, which is a big ask for him, really, because I have serious question marks as to whether he's even good enough for this league. But there is Carter, plays it forward to Stanley, who gets it under control nicely, beats his man and just starts running and finds Mick Powell. We've got, I can't remember the guy, is it Hickman, the right back? O'Brien's just scored again, though. Lewis O'Brien, we talked about in the summer how I thought Lewis O'Brien was going to be a star for us. And I mentioned in the last game how it took him a little while to find a way to force himself into the team. We've got a lot of good central midfielders and not a lot of spots in the team to play them. With Fernandez and Wolf and Hornshaw and obviously O'Brien as well. There's a lot of options for us there. But O'Brien is definitely pushing himself forward as being the man most suitable to partner Fernandez in our first choice midfield. And poor old Matty Wolf, who we did everything we could to bring him back on loan again for another year, it kind of feels like a little bit of a waste of time. And Hornshaw, who we signed permanently after a successful loan last year, finds himself not even getting on the bench most weeks, because we've got Martin Smith as well. I forgot all about him. O'Brien, with the free kick, doesn't find a home shirt. Talking of home shirts, still not got mine, which is why you've not seen me wearing them in a video yet. What you will have noticed, though, Mick Powell is in, makes it 2-0. 25th goal of the season for Powell. What you will have noticed, though, is as people are tweeting at home_FC pictures of themselves wearing their home shirts that they've now got, I am sticking them all in a nice folder, which is called my future thumbnail folder. So there's going to be a lot of home shirts on thumbnails going forward of you lot wearing them. So if you want to be on a thumbnail and you haven't got yourself a home shirt yet, get yourself a home shirt. And then you can, the link is right at the top of the description down below. They definitely exist. They look cool. They are being delivered to people yet. My tip for you would be, don't order 9 in one go, because then they take a little bit longer to arrive from China. But if you just order 1, 2, 3, they seem to be getting through. And they look awesome, and you can get yourself on a thumbnail as well, which is, who doesn't want to be on a thumbnail? Let's face it, I always get excited when I'm on a thumbnail. So, we're doing very well. Assertively don't get complacent, just a standard half-time Kev chat. And we've not even noticed that we've got our dodgy defence together today. Where are Barnet in the league? Barnet are, I mean, they're roughly equivalent to us, but our defence is just handling things rather comfortably. I think Webber, a little bit of retraining as a centre-back might be in order for him. He's at 6'3", having a very comfortable game there today. Perhaps he's the centre-back that we've been looking for. Wolf now plays it all the way back to Civita, who just lumps it forward towards Tyler, but Tyler was nowhere near it. And it was a poor kick, really. It was a weird decision to play it back to Civita in those circumstances anyway. But Barnet coming at us again here. Hickman heads clear to Stanley, but Stanley just sort of flicks it on to where he should have been standing. And I don't know, we don't seem to have started this second half in a particularly lively fashion. 15 minutes gone, and it's been all Barnet so far in this second half, but Civita makes the save comfortably. But then, I don't know, did we get a free kick there? Because he just left the ball on the floor and walked off. I'm not going to argue, because we didn't concede a goal, but it was a bit odd. Lewis Tyler not having a very good game. We've got Foy. Foy can come on and play on that left-hand side. It might be time to recall Ben Cottrell to the fray. Tyler's played 5 or 6 games in a row now, and hasn't looked any better than Cottrell would, I don't think. We are going to take off Matty Wolf and bring on Martin Smith. I usually like to have someone a bit more attacking in the midfield, but I guess a deep line playmaker and a box-to-box midfielder when you're 2-0 up isn't a disaster. O'Brien with another free kick testing the keeper. O'Brien he's had a very good episode. I think we need to prepare for many episodes of excitement from O'Brien. I think he's one of the few that's on a 2-year contract as well. So you'll be seeing a lot of him. He's not going to be disappearing in the summer like Buckley and Benson did last year. We've got him for at least another year after this. Right, I think we are going to make the final change. We are going to bring on Critchlow Noble just to stick him over at left back and put Tanner back on his correct side. Just get a little bit of home experience at the back there. Critchlow Noble's still only 22, 23. It's not like we're bringing on a 300 league game player, but for us he's got lots of experience. He's one of our team leaders along with Mick Powell. I think he's our club captain officially. No, Mick Powell's the club captain, Critchlow Noble's vice captain, I think. And we've just scored again, And that's an FM19 special. We've all seen a few of these now, I think. If you've played enough hours of FM19, you've both scored and conceded this goal. But let's have a little look at it because it's always fun. So, defender on the edge of the area, turns around, plays it back to his keeper, who just runs away, and 3-0. Excellent stuff. Happens almost as often as the long-range shots. It doesn't happen anywhere near as often as the long-range shots. Long-range shots, they're the new tap-in. Right, are we there? I think we are there. We're back up into the playoff spots as well, which is important. That episode couldn't have got any better. We've got an FA Cup third round tie away against the Premier League team, and we're back up into the playoff spots. That means let's have some passion, gentlemen. There we go. Good stuff. Right, as mentioned after the cup draw, we are going to race ahead a little bit from here. We're going to play all the way through to probably Halifax, so it's a good, 8 or 9 league games? We're going to have a good feel in the next episode for whether or not we are a proper promotion challenger, and also hopefully bring in a big chunk of cash from playing Watford, which should be delightful. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.